Hello everyone. Today we are going to learn about organizing data. In that, the first section is variables and data. Okay, let's move on to the first lesson. There are few types of variables. The variable can be divided into two groups, qualitative and quantitative. And the quantitative variables can again be divided into two groups, the discrete and the continuous. Okay, this is the graph of how variables divided into qualitative, quantitative, and the quantitative variable divides into discrete and continuous. And let's see what a variable means by its definition. By the definition, the variable is a characteristic that varies from one person or thing to another. That's what we call a variable. As an example, you can say the height of a person, weight of a person, the sex, eye color. Those can be categorized under variables. Any of them can be categorized under variables. As you can see in the second definition, the variable that yields non-numerical information is called a qualitative variable. For an example, let's say from the variables that I said earlier, sex and eye color, those are qualitative variables because when we take sex, it has male and female. When we take eye color, it maybe have black, blue, brown. So numerical values. So those can be categorized as qualitative variables. And the second one is the quantitative variable. The variables that yields numerical information are called the quantitative variables. For an example, from the variables that I said earlier, we can choose height and weight. Let's say we are going to get the height information of a classroom. That is a quantitative variable. So it generates a numerical value. Okay. Now we know what are the qualitative and quantitative variables are. From the quantitative variables, there are two groups, discrete and continuous. The discrete variable is a qualitative variable whose possible values can be listed. In particular, quantitative variable with only a finite number of possible values is a discrete variable. Okay. Yeah. In a discrete variable, all possible values can be listed, even though the list may go up to infinity. The possible values are some collection of whole numbers. That is the characteristic of a discrete variable. For an example, let's say the number of cars owned by your family. Let's take this Lubbock area and the number of cars owned by each family in Lubbock. We can take it as a discrete variable because it has output as the whole numbers, and yeah, it can go up to infinity. Yeah, that's what we call a discrete variable. And the second one is a continuous variable. In a continuous variable, the possible values are from an interval of numbers. It involves measurements such as heights and weights, the whole numbers as well as the numbers with decimal values. Those are called as continuous variables. That is the difference between discrete and continuous variables. Okay, let's move on to some set of definitions that we've gone through when we are dealing with variables. Now, as the last slide of this section, we can see some definitions of data. Data means the values of a variable. For any variables, the data means the values of that variable. And the second one is the qualitative data. The values of a qualitative variable can be seen as qualitative data. For an example, if we get the sex variable of a classroom, then those data that we collected, those are qualitative data. And the second one is the quantitative data. If we take the height of people in a classroom, those data we can call them as qualitative data, values of a quantitative data. Yeah. And then the discrete data means the values of a discrete variable. And then the continuous data, values of a continuous variable, is called as continuous data. Okay, that will be the end of this first section, variables and data. See you in the next section. Thank you.